Hi everyone, welcome to episode 3 of Fred and my channel here on YouTube, where we're coming to you from North Texas after a long, frozen, not so great week here. My name is Jennifer. I'm glad you stopped by for a visit. I wanted to start off and thank everyone that I've watched out on YouTube who has made a comment or spoke encouraging words with regards to the fact that here in Texas our weather situation was less than ideal and ended up putting a lot of us either without power or water or both. Fortunately, where I am, I was very lucky in that we did not lose power. We had a few pipes freeze over, but they did not burst. So we are very, very lucky and one of the few that are. But I know here in the state, throughout the state, we made national headlines and I think international ones to a certain degree. And everybody that I've seen comment on it has been nothing but gracious and just sent a lot of well wishes our way, and that's very appreciative considering how not so great our state government has been in handling the situation. And we've now dealt with something very eye-opening as far as recognizing our government officials being unable to handle themselves appropriately in situations like this. So there are definitely parts of the state that are used to this kind of weather, maybe not for this long, but there are certainly sections up in the Panhandle and out in West Texas that are familiar or used to the snow and the cold. And even here in North Texas, North Central Texas, once or twice, every couple of years we get colder weather than we're used to and precipitation that we're certainly not used to dealing with. But for the entire state to be at or below freezing and the effect that it had on our infrastructure's ability to handle it certainly says a lot about our need here statewide to get a handle on things. But yes, I just wanted to thank everyone across the country and across North America for being positive about the situation. There's definitely a lot of dragging that went on the internet and a lot of shade throwing, but for the most part, I think everybody recognized that while we were not prepared to handle this, things do happen, and provided nothing but a lot of grace and a lot of kindness this past week as we were trying to get through it. So we're in the 60s today, which is crazy, but it's good. It's good that we've got the sun out and the temperatures are warming. I mean, you go outside today and you would have never known that we had that much snow for that long. Just because everything kind of looks like a typical winter day. With that, thank you again for being here. This episode's going to be about my cross-stitching projects and things that I've purchased over the last couple of weeks. In episode 2, I kind of briefly mentioned that I was going to break these episodes up, do a knitting one and a cross-stitch one, and kind of go back and forth, partly to save on time, because YouTube does not like really long videos. They take forever to edit and get uploaded, and sometimes they fail, which is what happened the last time. And also because not all knitting people like cross stitch and not all cross stitch people like knitting, so it helps me kind of break up the information as well for you. But with that said, there were a lot of things that did not ever make it to YouTube the last time, because my original episode 2 included cross stitch, that information that never got uploaded So I'm not going to try to go back and recreate what was said on that video, just because, frankly, I don't remember. It's been a while since I did that episode. And I wasn't able to salvage enough of it to do anything with. So I'm just going to try to pick up the last couple of weeks of stuff and go from there. And anything that you see, if I don't give a lot of detail on, or I kind of just kind of gloss over for one reason or another, it may be because I thought I'd covered it already somewhere, and maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But if that's the case, leave a comment, question down below. I'll try to give as much information about what I talk about today in the description, with regards to where you can find things, or companies if you're wanting to know more information about. But like I said, there may be moments in here that I kind of don't call a lot of attention to something, and maybe you'd like to know more, and I'd be more than happy to give you more information on it. So with that said, let's start with some of my works in progress over the last couple of weeks, and some of the things I have planned to work on. We'll start with the finished one, actually the thing that I got caught up on today, which is my Made to Create Sal from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. This is sent to us in multiple parts, and I actually finished the bottom little section of this and the rest of the thread earlier today, kind of to motivate myself to get this done in time to post this video. The second part will actually be released this last week in February, and basically each section, we don't have any idea of what's going to be released next, but you're probably seeing a lot of these out there because people are starting to finish their first part 1 section in anticipation of getting part 2. I am stitching this on 14 count Aida, just a white that I had, a bunch of. This is the Made to Create needle minder that Caterpillar Cross Stitch does. They do needle minders for all their stitch alongs. So this is the one that came with this. I didn't buy the kit. All I bought was the needle minder, and then I'm actually getting the pattern via PDF. So all of the DMC I bought, but I am using the colors that are called for in the pattern. And I've just got this on a 11-inch Q-snap. And the grime guard is one that I made with some fabric that has some really cute stitching related puns on it. And I liked it a lot too, because their colors, like the orange and the turquoise here, really go well. They really bring out the colors in the pattern. So I'm really happy with this, and I can't wait for the second part to be released later on this week. So, and this one I had actually, so I didn't start it right away. It was, the first part was released last week in January, and there were ladies that had already stitched up the whole thing like the first day and had to wait a whole month. And I got most of it done except for that last little bit that I mentioned, because I had plans for the first couple of weeks in February that I'll talk about here in a minute. But in the interim, before then, I wanted to get as much of it done as I could, and I got, I'd say 90% of it done before 80% of it done in a weekend. So it was really, really quick. So I anticipate the second part will go pretty quick too, and I'll probably have to wait like all the rest of the ladies, but it is a nice stitch. It's really nice too because there are a lot of color changes, and that makes it fun. Makes it not quite so tedious, or just, you can kind of switch things up as you run out of thread, colored thread. You can do something else for a little bit, and so that's really exciting. So yeah, I'm really happy with this so far, and I can't wait to see the next part. Another thing that I was working on leading up to that, as a matter of fact, was the Stitchonomy winter stitch along. And I'm going to put a picture here of where I got to prior to what I'm going to show you now, because I'll show you. This is the second part. I'm sorry, you can see through the fabric, the window behind me. This is a 14 count Aida. I wonder if I can roll this down and if it would help. There, that helps a little bit. 14 count Aida, but in a navy blue color. And basically, this is a really long, narrow, this is an 8 inch Q-snap, but this is the width of it. But the rest of mine that I've stitched so far, I've got kind of rolled up behind it. That's why I showed you the picture. So I've gotten, I think this is section 8, and all of the parts have been released. My plan was to do as much of this as I could, like in between other projects I was working on, and these all went really quick. But now that I'm done, or now that I've got all the parts, I have all the remaining rows to do. Each one's kind of a different winter theme. And then in addition, the last section, she actually did she went back and did a bunch of like snowflakes and stuff like that around it. And her finishing has kind of like a wooden, I think she calls it like a bell pull across the top. I originally had purchased a frame to put this in, but the more I look at that frame, I realized this may be too long. So I may go back and look at her finishing. Basically, she took the leftover fabric up here, folded it, or, curled it over and stitched it together, did a running stitch, and then hemmed up the edges, and then, like I said, did a hanger at the top. And I've got some wooden dowels that I think might work really well. So I may have that finished similar to the way she did. And we got an email last week, I think, that she's starting her next stitch along, which is the Homely Houseplants, which is version 2. I believe version 1 she did in 2020, but again, it'll be released in multiple sections, and I think it starts in March or April. So I'm hoping to get all this wrapped up before then, so that way I can start fresh with another stitch along with her. So this one's been a lot of fun. And these two, like each row's released like every 3 days or something like that. And this one's stitched up really quick even after I had all of the parts. I just have to get it finished. So, and I was using her called for DMC colors as well for this one. So that's why I opted for the dark navy. Just some of these white sections probably wouldn't have shown up as well on a white, maybe a gray, but I didn't have any gray. So I'm really happy with the navy. And the needle minder is another caterpillar cross stitch. This one was part of their Hello Dear, the winter stitch along tree that they had. And it's the little European robin that you see in that pattern. So I really liked him, so I got him too. All right. And then another stitch along I have not started yet, but I have kitted up, is the Barbara Anna Dreaming Girl Sal. That one actually started February 1st, I believe. I've kind of been hanging back because I have watched the other floss tubers and stitchers choose to make their girl unique to their pattern. And I kind of want to do the same thing, but I haven't quite decided how I want to do her skin tone and her hair. Some people are doing, of course, people of color. So they're choosing skin tones that are much, much darker than the girl in the pattern. She's just fair-skinned like I am, and then kind of has a reddish, brownish red hair color. And I kind of want to make it uniquely my own too. So I'm trying to wait a couple of parts just to kind of see. Pretty much the girl and her hair was released in the first part, but I don't want to do anything that might, if there are colors that I choose that might not work very well with the remainder of the pattern. I just want to make sure that whatever I decide to do, that I kind of do something that I'm that will work well with the design. And it may be that I end up waiting till the very end. But I did go ahead and choose, this is a 32 count Belfast linen called Haunted. And it's kind of it's actually a little bit of a green blue, but grayish. And the original pattern, I think the background blue that she picked was much, much darker. But I think the colors, these are the colors that are called for, and I think they'll go really well on this fabric for sure. And of course I chose another caterpillar cross stitch needle minder that I had, that's a little camper van that says Live Simply, to go with that when I get started. And I'll talk about this really quick. So these are my kitted up colors for this. These are the called for colors that is recommended for the Barbara Anna Sal. This particular one though is a color that I actually have with another kit. So I pulled off just enough thread to at least get me started. I probably will need more, but this will at least get me going. This is actually a thread drop that I made myself, and I'm going to put a YouTube tutorial up on here showing how I made it and the tools that I used, because I was able to do that with just stuff that I already had around the house. Erin from Steel City Stitchers did a little brief video in conjunction with Caterpillar Cross Stitch about her embroidery thread organization, as far as how she keeps her thread, whether she keeps it on bobbins or on those floss cards or in those floss away plastic bags, and then how she keeps track of, when she's putting a kit together to do a project, how she does all that and keeps it all together. Well, in doing so, she showed some of the floss cards that you can either buy. Some people make them. You can buy them on Etsy or Amazon. The little thread drops are like, I think thread drops are kind of the official name for them. But in watching that video, I realized I had some tools that I have from other projects that I've done, so I decided I would make a tutorial. So if you're interested, that tutorial will be out there, available to you, just to kind of give you some inspiration on how you can make your own, especially when, like me, you have multiple projects going on, but they may be using similar colors, and you don't want to have to keep hunting for the same color bobbin that's in one bag to find it to use it for another project. So if you're at all interested in that, it will be up, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so another project that I had planned was a project that I wanted to work on for the first couple of weeks in February, leading up to Valentine's Day. And every day I wanted to stitch on something Valentine or love or romantic themed. But this was in conjunction with the Date With Your Stitching box that we got from Black Needle Society that had the hands-on design, the Waffle Lot pattern. And so what I decided to do was I found a bunch of patterns, most of them small, something that I could do in a day. And I found the Tiny Decisions app on Android, but it's also on iTunes as well. The Google Play Store is where I got it. But basically, I loaded up every pattern, Valentine's Day pattern that I had, and basically spun every day. So I had about 14-15 patterns, with the goal in mind to work on a pattern every day leading up to Valentine's Day. What actually ended up happening was some of the patterns, like this one that were much larger, took up multiple days. So I didn't quite get 14 patterns stitched. I probably only got about 8 or 9, but many of them were much, much smaller, and they ended up being, just a day's worth of stitching, and I actually got them done within a day. So some of the ones I got done were, so Kathy Haberman is Hands-On Design. She has a blog that she releases like every so often, like for her anniversary or for Valentine's Day or something like that. She releases little charts that and in some of them she'll show you how she finishes them on like little pillows or berries or little cute little knickknacks or whatever for her house. But most of them are just like this one right here, My Heart Leaps Up. And so basically what I did, this Be Mine was another, this Love is Kind is another, this one, which I did not finish, it's got arrows and it says LOVE, just says love on it. So I'll go back and finish that one. Then this one, You Bring Peace to My Heart, and I think the word heart was actually spelled out, but I chose to put the heart button instead. And then this one says love and then really big white letters U, Y-O-U, and I think this is like the loop at the top of the O. But yeah, I went back on her blog and I found, I think there are 7 of these. 6 that I stitched. There may have been a 7th one that I didn't get to stitch. The Love is Kind, I can't remember if I showed you that one or not. So I stitched one of those each day. A couple of these I think probably took more than one day, because obviously some of them I didn't get finished with. But then in addition, this, I spent a lot of time on this. As a matter of fact, I worked on some of this even after Valentine's Day this week. But this is the Waffle Lot. So I got most of the border done. And so I'll keep working on that, for as long as I can. This one, I'll put a picture up briefly here, is the, I think it's We Go Together by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, but that's as far as I got, was just part of the border, and it's an egg and bacon one, so I wanted to do that. And then the last one that I started but I didn't finish was Top Knot Stitcher did a little it's like a little ghost, and I can't remember now what it's called, but I'll post a picture up here and I'll put the name of it down here. But that's about as far as I got, the little hearts and then the little bats. But yeah, so each day leading up to Valentine's Day, I stitched on something kind of, Valentine's like. And of course I also did my Galentine's Sal as a nod to Leslie Knope of Parks and Rec, Amy Poehler's character, who celebrated Galentine's Day, and she likes waffles. They end up going to have waffles for breakfast in that particular episode. So yeah, so I had a lot of fun with that. And then once I was done, then I went back and picked up some of my other stitching that I needed, or that I wanted to work on, finish my Made to Create Part 1 and get some other things ready for March. So one of the things I got this week is the new Flossin' Club batch from Forbidden Fiber Company. And the way it works is it's a monthly subscription. She sends you 10 flosses of different colors, and then a couple that are either one of a kind or new, maybe up and coming colors that she hasn't released to the public yet. So Leanne's great. She is a fiber. She was a yarn company first, but she now is starting to dabble in cross stitch and embroidery, and she's hand dyeing her own embroidery floss, which I think is great. This month's selection is fantastic. All of these colors are very, very vibrant and bright, and as you can see, some of them have multiple layers on it. I think this one's the Purple Rain. color. Yeah, it's got some pink and it's got some purple in it. This one is Forest Floor, but again has some light green and some dark green. Very, very pretty. And then like this one is called Tropical, but it's got all kinds of colors in it. Yellow and pink and orange and purple, almost like fruit stripe gum or something like that. So, and this month, as an extra surprise, in addition to the floss that we got, she also sent us via email a freebie cross-stitch chart, which was just like a little spring basket with flowers. So I haven't looked yet at the chart, but I'm thinking some of these colors are probably used, especially like this this pickle green color is very, very, would make a good, like, leaves and stems on flowers. This salmon would definitely make a good flower color. Yeah, so this peachy keen one, this one's actually, it's peachy. It's got some orange, but also some pink in it. It's very, very pretty. So I was really excited to get that. And of course, I've already got the email that the third one is billed, so we'll get another month. In addition to this, I did the unboxing of the Valentine's Day cross-stitch box, which I'm absolutely loving. And part of that I had hoped would be part of my stitching for Valentine's Day, but I kind of ran out of time. But I did use some of those flosses in some of these hands-on design colors. So like these right here, these were actually Forbidden Fiber Company colors. But her February pre-order was for a March yarn box and cross-stitch box for Gilmore Girls, which I did not purchase. I've never watched an episode, which is okay. Just leaves more for the fans that are. But she just posted, I think today, that February the 25th, which is a Thursday, I think, she is doing the pre-orders for not only a yarn box, but also a cross-stitch box that are Mandalorian themed. And I'm not saying the woman's going to have all my money at the end of the month, but I'm really looking forward to that. So I hope there's some left. I hope I can get my hands on them. But we'll see. Keep your eyes peeled. You can follow her on Instagram, Forbidden Fiber Co. But also she's got a Facebook page in different groups. So based on like different yarn clubs and stuff like that too. So yeah, you should definitely give her a look, because she always has some really clever, cool things in store. So, but then in addition to her floss, I also got from Caroline at Evertote. She has become the exclusive person that is selling the new Leo and Roxy hand-dyed embroidery floss. And I didn't get my hands on the first few colors that were limited edition back at Christmas, which is okay. We can't have all the things, but I definitely made sure that I got in on this one, because these blues are so gorgeous. And like this one in particular has got so much change, variegation to it. Is absolutely stunning. And then in addition, I couldn't help myself. She had this thread keep, which I thought was absolutely adorable. So I did get this one. And since then, she's released another set of 5 colors that are all purples. So I've got that ordered, and I think it's actually been shipped maybe and on the way. So hopefully next time you guys see another cross-stitch episode, I'll have purples to show you as well. But yeah, these are absolutely just amazing colors. And a lot of people, have gotten in on it. She gets them in big, huge, like what you would imagine like a yarn skein, and then has to cut them up and divvy them up and put them on cards and all that. But I think people are really digging them, so I try to get on it as soon as I can, as soon as I see that she's got another color available. And I'm trying to stay on the lookout for greens, because that's where I'm hoping Carrie goes next. Carrie is one of the two ladies behind Leo and Roxy, and she's the one that's actually hand dyeing the embroidery floss, because Carrie's a cross stitcher as well. And you can find them. You can find Caroline, which is Off the Grid Needle Art. She's got a YouTube podcast on here, and I absolutely love her podcast. But then the Leo and Roxy girls, I think it's under their shop name, which is Little Red Mitten. They're up in Canada, but I think it's the Little Red Mitten podcast, and they have a YouTube channel as well, and so they're a lot of fun to watch. They get to be silly and get to giggling, and it's kind of fun to watch them. So, in addition to that, I also got some more needle minders. This is a company called A Needle Runs Through It, and they not only do stitchy stuff, but they do other, I think they do stitch markers and progress keepers and pins and all that kind of thing. But they are part of this kind of collective group of companies. Knitted Wit is a yarn company that I actually have some of their yarn, because they do national parks yarn, which I absolutely love. And Shannon Squire, they do yarn. Shannon Jean Club, they do yarn, and then Shannon Squire does the design work for their patterns and stuff. But yeah, I love them tremendously, and I follow them. So feel free or give them a shout out, or look them up online if you're also a yarn person. But A Needle Runs Through It had some really cute yarn, but also cross stitch related needle minders. So I got this little kitty cat, and they're all, just the magnetic backs. And then I got this one that was yarn with the knitting needles through it. And then this one is a bobbin that just says cross stitch or X stitch on it. And then this other one says I love cross stitch. So yeah, you can never have too many needle minders, especially when you got all of the projects going at the same time, and you want to make sure you're completely covered. And you have everything, when you have everything kitted up and ready to go. And then lastly, I had ordered from Top Knot Stitchery. They are the ones that did this, now that I remember the name. It's called Be My Boo pattern for Valentine's Day, which had the little ghost, but it had the Valentine colors. But in addition, I had ordered that and another PDF pattern, but then I'd also ordered some stuff to come in the mail. So one of the things that I ordered, just to show you, was a pattern, not theirs, but another company that they sell patterns for, which is Luminous Fiber Arts. And this was the Christmas Bird Trio, which I thought was totally cute. And it'll be put away for now, but I'll definitely stitch on it this winter. So I'm really excited, looking forward to all of those. If you know me at all, you know I'm a big fan of birds. Also, I bought this little Adopt Don't Shop needle minder. This is something that I bought to go with my Quirky Quaker Sal with Darling and Whimsy, because the 7th pattern was just released called Fishbone, and in addition, or instead of buying the pattern from her, she asked that you make a donation to an animal rescue, which in my case I donated to the local animal shelter here, just because they treat every pet that they get as a rescue, and they always try to find homes for them, or try to find other organizations that will take them to find them good homes, and make sure they're in the best mental health and medical health, and just really take good care of the animals here, and don't treat their company like or the animals that come in like they're housing them till till they can get rid of them, you know, kind of thing. I mean, they really, really care about those animals. So that's what I did. Well, in doing so, I decided, I think what I'm going to do is stitch that number 7, on National Adopt a Shelter Pet Day, which I think is in April sometime. So you will definitely see this needle minder again, because this is the one I'll put on my big piece of fabric that I'm stitching all my Quirky Quakers on, and this will be what I use. But she did, or Top Knot Stitcher also sent this little stitcher decal, which I think is meant to go like on your car window, but I don't know if I want to put it on my car, just because, I mean, not that it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I just I don't know, I'm one of those people that I don't put stuff on my car. So I have to figure out what to do with this, because this is like a clear vinyl decal. Because right now I can't think of any other clear places that this would show up, you know, because this is, as far as I can tell, this is a white vinyl decal. Most decals I stick on my embroidery floss boxes, but I don't think that's going to work very well there. I have a couple of binders that maybe it'll stick, it'll look good. I'm just hoping it's not like, a lot of these are meant to stick on the inside, so they're the right way out. I'm hoping that this is an outside sticker, so it'll read correctly if I stick it on something else. So, but yeah, so I got that needle minder. And then the other thing that I got, which I actually think I saw this on Michelle Bendy Stitchy's podcast or channel on here, but Top Knot does do-it-yourself needle minder kit. So I wanted to show you on my my Valentines. I had my one from Forbidden Fiber Company that I was using because it was kind of Valentine themed. But one of the ones that came in that kit was this one right here. And it's a little embroidery hoop with the needle and thread, and it says love on it. So this one I actually made from this kit, so I wanted to show you guys. So it's a metal tin, and what she does is on the top, on the inside, if I can hold it up, she puts, now of course there's one set missing because I made one, but she puts 5 sets of magnets. In addition, she puts the instructions on how to make them. And then she gives you some E6000, which I use this a lot. So I actually haven't opened this one. I used one that I already had open. And then she gives you, in this case, she gave me 5 little different things. So I had the Valentine, the little love one. But in addition is this little wooden fox, which is really cute. This little apple tree, which is awesome, and it's also a button, so in case you were wondering. This little it's like a little stamp, but it's like Santa, so that will be good to use like during Christmas. And then those 3 were all like wooden painted wood. The love one and then this one are both like acrylic, and that one's really fancy, really pretty. So I'm hoping maybe there's something fancy that I get to stitching on. But I haven't made any of the other ones yet. I kind of don't think I will until either one of these suits the theme of what I'm stitching on, or something comes to mind. But this was a really clever idea because it gives you a chance to figure out or to learn one, how they kind of work, but 2, makes you realize you have things around your house that buttons or whatever that you could turn into needle minders. I've done a couple before that, if they were in good condition, some of my favorite beer, the tops, some of them are twist off, so you can get them off really easy, but some of the bottle caps aren't. So yeah, so I've done that before. But you could do the same thing, because like some of the bottled soft drinks are that way too. But yeah, this was just a really clever idea. And I liked it a whole lot. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. And I'm sure you guys will see them again when I'm stitching on some other things. So, and I think that's going to do it for today. I really appreciate you guys joining us. I hope you saw something that maybe you'll go out and shop from a company that I mentioned. Again, I'll try to put as much information as I can down in the comments about things that I talked about. But if you saw something that I just kind of didn't even mention, or you wanted to know more, or you wanted to know where I got something and I forget, shoot me a question down in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer any questions for you or let you know where I got something. Or if you need help tracking something down, I'll try to help you as best I can. I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope everybody, especially my friends and family here in Texas, are slowly getting back to normal. I know it's going to be hard. It's going to be a while. It's been a rough week for all of us. But again, I want to say thank you to everyone outside the state for all the kind things that you've said. Maybe in spite of the fact that we obviously have a lot of issues in this state, but yeah, thank you for recognizing, that we were all stuck in a really harrowing situation that most of us couldn't help, and we're getting there. We're trying to get back on our feet and get back to work, hopefully, despite a pandemic still in effect. And I hope everybody out there is staying well and staying safe. Yeah, you guys take care of yourselves. I hope you find something fun to stitch over the next few days, and we'll see you later, and we hope you have a good one.